What is up, my fellow prod coders? So welcome to this tutorial, and today we are going to continue working on our search bar. So we already have kind of the main part, so the gray button, the input, another gray button, and then the input as well, but we still need this red button, and that shouldn't be a big issue, I guess. So let's just go back to our Bulma documentation. So maybe I'll just start with documentation so you guys see like where you can find it. If you go to elements and then to button, you can see that Bulma already offers some icon buttons, and it's using Font Awesome for that. And if you recall, I think it was the first lecture, we already pulled in this Font Awesome JS library, which will allow us to use these icon fonts. So this here is important because otherwise you would not see the icons we're about to use. So this looks pretty good. So that code here is basically this bold button over here. So let's just copy that. Let's go back to our editor and let's just paste this right here. And we already get a warning, and that is because we are using these anchor tags. So we don't want to use these anchor tags. We want to use div, and here div as well. Oh, and I just noticed here we have class. It must of course be class name. And oh, here we also have class. So do we have anything with class equals? Oh yeah, here. Almost forgot. Okay, so back to our browser. Nice. So here's our icon button. It's a little bit small though, because these elements, they are all medium sized, because we added this is medium class. So we are going to do that here as well. So we will just say is medium. Nice. So now everything is the same size. That looks pretty cool, but we need a different icon. And the way we do that is we go to fontawesome.com and we search for search. So I already did that previously. And then we click on the first result, and then we see what class we have to assign to the icon in order to get this particular image. So it's not an image, it's an icon of course, but you know what I mean. So FAS, this is probably Font Awesome Solid, and then FA-search. Okay, so we can work with that. We can say FAS, FA-search. That should work. Yes. So now we have this nice search icon here, but we still want to have it in a different color, right? So if we go back here, it's somewhat red here. That shouldn't be an issue, but as you will see right now, we're going to run into a few CSS module issues. Like nothing serious, but just saying. Okay, let's go back to our search bar CSS file, and we will just say, so I'm just going to show you like a little caveat here. Let's just say search button. And we will make this a background of BD1F1F. And this is not something that came randomly out of my head. It's just a color that Yelp itself is using. And now I want to show you something interesting. So if we inspect this element, then we see, like here, this one, then we see that the background color of this guy, let's go to computed, the background color of this guy is white, because this .button class from Bulma assigns it the color of white, and we want it to be red. So one way to do this is to just assign a more specific class, or like to use a more specific selector, and like so we can override that behavior. So let me just show you something. So you might say something like, okay, I have a button. So if we go back here, we see, okay, it's button. And we are also going to assign it the class search button. All right, oops, So this one, and then we can say styles add search button. Okay, let's go back. And you see, it's not working. And it's actually some CSS modules caveat. So if we go back to our file, then it should be like easy to see why this is causing the problem. So remember, CSS modules like always appends or prepends some stuff to our classes to make them unique. So if you say .button, .search button, then it's going to prepend something to .button and to append something to .button, and it's going to do the same for this search button class so that it's unique. But we don't want it to append or prepend anything to this .button class, because this is the class that is coming from Bulma. And that is why we can use this global statement here. So what we will do is we will say :global button. And what this means is, hey, CSS modules, like, do not append or prepend anything to this button class, but you can append and prepend something to the search button class, because this is our own class, and the .button class is something that comes from Bulma, and that's why we must not modify it. And we can, and the same is actually true for our icon. So we will just say color white. And this is like a pretty nasty thing, because you are doing your CSS and you just don't know why it's not working. So if you go back, we have here this icon class. That's fine. But we don't want CSS module to change anything about it. So that's why we say :global. And if we go back to our thing, then we see, nice, it's working. One thing we should do is we should remove these this gray border. It's kind of ugly, I think. So let's do it like this. Border none. And what happens? Can we add a little bit of padding here, maybe? Does that change anything? Not really, right? Okay, so we're just going to leave that one out. But I think right now it's good enough. And it's also, you see, yeah, there's a little bit of border, and then the thing itself starts. So we could start messing around with it, but it's like barely noticeable. So as long as we don't have the gray border, I guess we're good. Nice. So that's it pretty much for this search bar. Let's check what changes we have. So we can say git status. Yeah, so we added the search bar and the search bar .module.css. Remember that we did not commit it in the last tutorial. So we can say git add -a. Then we say git commit -m search bar, and then we can say git push. Yeah, cool. So now we committed everything. In the next lecture, we are going to focus on the remaining part of the landing page. That is this part. And then we will align everything properly. So thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to give the video a thumbs up. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.